So when it comes to The Last of Us, that is a show that I've defended particular episodes within the show, and a lot of people obviously disagree with me because they don't like some of the aspects within the actual show. But for me, a lot of the aspects that people disagree with are aspects that are already in the game, so I really can't disagree with it, even though they do exacerbate it on TV and they try to make it into this whole big thing. I mean, the only episode I truly disagreed with was obviously episode 3 with Big Gay Farm from Bill and Frank. But besides that, I disagreed with that because simply they completely changed the story into something that was deemed really, honestly, unnecessary. If I skipped episode 3 and went from 2 to 4, I felt like I missed nothing, and that's exactly how I felt about that episode, and that's why I feel like it was a worthless episode. Other than that, if it was in its own vacuum, the episode would have been fine. But with that being said, of course, we have Bella Ramsey, who, before this show came out, Bella Ramsey actually, I think it was like a week or two before the show came out, she decided to come out as non-binary. Now, it doesn't surprise me that she did that because, of course, if she waits until the show is about to come out and she claims that she's non-binary 2 weeks before the show comes out, which in my opinion, I feel like was done by the studio. I think the studio told her to do that, but that's besides the point. If she comes out as non-binary, what does that do? That spins a bunch of headlines, that gets a lot of people talking, that gets her name out there, and that allows them to actually move forward with trying to like market this show for essentially free. All they had to do was just get the main actress or one of the main actresses to claim to be non-binary, and that's it. You're going to have a whole bunch of videos made on it. You're going to have a whole bunch of articles made on it, and it's one of those things where it's like kind of hyping up The Last of Us without actually having to spend any money. With that being said, though, we do have an article from Bounding Into Comics, and it says The Last of Us actress Bella Ramsey tells critics to get used to acts of grave depravity that are and will be heavily pushed in the show. Now, of course, when it comes to Bounding Into Comics, it likes to use certain wordage, and usually it's a little more extreme, but essentially she says that you need to get used to seeing gay stories in TV shows and movies and whatnot because they're not going anywhere and they're going to be pushed even more. This is probably referencing Ellie's girlfriend, who's going to eventually show up in the TV show at some point. I would imagine it's probably going to show up sooner rather than later because she was just a DLC character, and of course they're going to turn her into some main thing for the actual television show. I would not be surprised. But let's see what Bounding Into Comics has to say about what she said. So it says The Last of Us actress Bella Ramsey recently told viewers to avoid watching the show if they are not comfortable with viewing sinful acts of grave depravity. Again, I do find it funny the way Bounding Into Comics likes to word certain articles. I think they do go for the extreme. That's on them. It's their articles. They could do whatever they want. It's not that I disagree with them. It's just the way that they do it. It's like so obviously on one side. You know what I'm saying? I feel like when you talk about things, you should try to be as close to the center as possible. Not that you need to fence it, but just try to like use verbiage that doesn't show that you are so absolutely on one side. And I feel like Bounding definitely does that. They show that they are on the right like so fucking hard, which is fine. Let them do what they want to do. It says Ramsey spoke with GQ magazine where she revealed that the show will feature a plethora of acts of grave depravity going forward. She told the outlet, "I know people will think that what they want to think, but they're going to have to get used to it. If you don't want to watch the show because it has gay storylines, because it has a trans character, that's on you and you're missing out. It isn't going to make me afraid. I think that comes from a place of defiance," she added. Now, I will say, aside from episode 3, again, I think it's a very good show. I've given it good scores. I've given it like an 8 and an 8.5 per episode, and I think it's going to continue to be such. However, I did give episode 3 a 5 out of 10 because it simply just didn't do anything for me. All it felt like was just some vacuum story that was thrown in there as filler, and it did nothing for the story other than give Joel a truck and a gun. And people who say, oh, well, it gave Joel a reason to protect Ellie, they completely forget that Tess's sacrifice in the first 2 episodes was the entire reason that Joel needed in order to protect Ellie and get her to her destination. Tess basically proved to Joel that Ellie is the real deal, showed him the arm and said, you need to protect her. You need to get her where she needs to do. You need to do this, Joel. And Joel, staying silent for a few, looks at her and decides to do it, knowing damn well that he's going to do it and protect her in every way that she needs to be protected. Bill and Frank's story, he didn't need that, okay? He didn't need that in order to already be on his quest in protecting Ellie. He didn't need that because he was already going to do so anyway. So again, that story serves no purpose for me. It serves no purpose in The Last of Us hierarchy in terms of an episodic format. It serves zero purpose. So that's why I don't think the episode was worth it in my opinion. Obviously, I think it was shot very well, it was acted very well, but other than that, it served no story purpose, which is why I went with an average score. So it says Ramsey's comments come after the show's 3rd episode debuted and was heavily criticized. YouTuber Synthetic Man described the episode as Brokeback Mountain. That's awesome. That's good stuff. But again, it's not too far from the truth. And honestly, I'm really tired of these actors and actresses coming out and trying to pretend like people have a problem with gay stories. There's been gay characters in TV shows and movies for decades. To pretend like LGBTQ is some stunning and brave new thing is really a joke, and it goes to show how little you know. Now, I know Bella Ramsey is very young, obviously, so I really don't care what she has to say or think, but still, at the end of the day, it's like, why are you pretending like you are some stunning and brave new thing when that's literally what everybody is trying to do online? Everybody's trying to find a new identity that they can come up with pronouns for and pretend like there's some new special title and they want to get some likes and retweets and clicks on TikTok. That's all they try to do. Like, you're not doing anything special. You're not stunning and brave for saying this. He explained, we got 15 minutes of two middle-aged gay dudes falling in love, and there's an extended kissing scene, and they even get married. It is just the weirdest, bizarre, out-of-left-field crap that is completely irrelevant to the overall plot. Again, we do know that Bill and Frank were partners in the game, obviously, but the storyline is completely different. Frank could not stand Bill. Frank wanted to get away from Bill so bad, and after he ended up getting infected, committed suicide, and left Bill a terrible note. It says, as for Ramsey's claim that you are missing out, it's clearly not anything good that you are missing out on. You are actively avoiding sin and the proliferation of it. Again, bounding. Dude, man, like, fuck. Dude, I don't know why they want to constantly make you feel like you're in church half the time. Like, you make me feel like I'm going to church when you start making articles about sin and all this shit and bringing up the church and all that. It's like, come on, I understand the point that you're trying to make, but take that out of it. You're talking about The Last of Us. Like, there's no reason to bring up religion into this. You can get your point across. Look, the entire rest of the article is about religion, so we're going to skip that. But you can get your point across, again, without having to talk about religion. So I'm going to try to say it for them in a way that makes other people understand without making it feel like they're being preached to. So with that being said, yes, Bella Ramsey trying to pretend like being gay is this big, stunning, and brave thing. It's obviously just a trope. It's something that it's going to allow her to get her name in the headlines. It's something that's going to allow them to get the show in the headline because they know rage clicks are very beneficial in terms of just overall engagement, impressions, all this stuff that these media companies look for when they try to promote products. They look for engagements, they look for impressions, and those rage clicks really, really go far. Now, again, Bella Ramsey doesn't really know too much if she thinks like being LGBTQ is suddenly stunning and brave, and people, that's all that people have a problem with. Like, oh, we only have a problem with episode 3 because it features gay people. That's not even the case at all. Episode 3 had so many other problems associated with it that them being gay has absolutely nothing to do with it. When I reviewed that episode, I said it from the beginning. We very much know that Bill and Frank are gay. We've seen the gay porno magazines. We've seen the letter from Frank to Bill. We know that they had something that wasn't just a friendship. We know that. So we don't care. I don't care about them being gay. Them being gay served absolutely nothing for me. However, the problem is that their story overall, the way that was presented in this episodic format of a TV show, that was my issue. They served no purpose. You gave me backstory on LGBTQ characters that you killed off in the same exact episode. Why would I care? Why would I care about all that backstory when you literally killed them in the same fucking episode that you introduced them? So for me, it did nothing. You know, I loved seeing Bill's backstory. Frank, don't really care about Frank too much, but it was cool to see how they initially met and whatnot, at least in this version of the story. But still, it went nowhere for me. It just became like the YouTuber said, Brokeback Mountain all day long. It was this overly romanticized gay love relationship because they don't want to showcase LGBTQ in a negative light. Whereas if they went with the original storyline that was in the game, it would showcase them in a negative light. Obviously, it would showcase Frank completely hating Bill to the point where he just wanted to commit suicide at that point because he couldn't stand him. He couldn't stand the way Bill would live his life. It was a completely 180 from what you got in the TV show. So for Bella Ramsey to say that we need to get used to gay stories, we don't give a shit. We don't want to get used to bad stories. That's the difference. You want us to get used to bad stories, and you're passing it off as bigotry, and at the end of the day, nobody's falling for that. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy, and if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.